When talking about playing the market in different MMORPGs, people usually mean by buying low and selling high, often in the same market/auction house. But in Albion, you need to set up a buy order, then sell whatever you are getting from that buy order, and that's it. And the hardest part is just finding the items to flip, and you'll find that out once you try it. It's not that really hard. I haven't done that much flipping recently, but in order to give some examples for the video, I've revisited several items I flipped in the past month. So here are some of my buy orders. The first one is a Dab's Graveguard helmet, then the same Graveguard helmet but this time 4.1, and last but not the least, my third example is the Graveguard boots, which is 4.1. And I left all these three items sitting overnight, which is about 10-hour period, and here are the results. So, like you can see, this is around 60,000 silver profit. It may seem like very little, but if you have a bunch of these orders, it adds up over time. So what I usually do, I make about 1 million silver, which in 10 hours, by just having to invest about 200 to 300k silver, then putting down these orders, going to sleep, and after 10 hours, here we have 1 million profit. So let me teach you how you can do it as well. Now let's try finding something new to flip. The most straightforward way of doing it is just choosing a category, so for example, armor, melee, ranged, etc., and clicking on a random items, trying to find those with big differences between buy and sell orders, which have big jumps on the market history graph. You'll be better off narrowing down the search first, so we are looking for items that get sold by buy orders more often than not. Random drops like that, but you'll have a super big competition on things like runes, tomes, so you'll need to look for gear. To narrow it down further, we need the gear that is bought often, and it is called the meta gear. And meta gear is just a normal gear piece that is popular in PvP/PvE activities at the moment, and it may change after every month depending on nerfs and buffs from the developers themselves. If you don't know what gear it is, you'll just have to skip this and figure out on your own when checking the orders. If an item is bought often, it's almost certainly a meta in some part of the game. For this video, I'll choose tier 4.1 artifact equipment because usually it costs a decent amount, it moves fast, it's very frequently used in Black Zone PvP, and a lot of people sell it without looking after getting it from hellgates, random dungeons or ganking. I have also crafted a lot of artifact gear when I started crafting, so I'm more or less familiar with the prices, when to sell and when to buy. Okay, so now let's see our example. Here we have Adept Hellion shoes. When we take a look at the graph, there isn't as much selling to buy orders here, so I'll just list one item, and whenever I will do that, it will also discourage others from overcutting my price. Okay, good, now that is done, and let's take a look at the next item, which this time is the Forge Hammers. So, this item used to be really popular and seems to be getting back to its popularity. I guess people thought that having two hammers was super cool, but actually, besides specific 5v5 builds, it doesn't work that well. So like we can see from the graph, the volume is pretty bad, but we can make some easy money here over time with very low investment. If you watched some of my guides on crafting and started crafting yourself already, one easy way to start flipping is combining flipping with crafting. So you can flip items that you craft. As you know, they're most popular price and frequently set up sell orders from them anyway, so pretty much no additional research is required whatsoever. Artifacts are another thing to flip because for some reason they often get sold out without the player looking at the price, because most time it usually comes from a random drop or chest. So again, when we take a look at the graph, we can see the big jump and it looks alright, so we'll put some sell orders as well. Then moving over to the Burning Orb, which again taking a look at the graph, we can see that people both sell and buy orders and somehow frequently as well buy and sell the same orders. And this is another great example for a bit cheaper price. And my last example on the list is mounts. People often sell and buy mounts, especially tier 3 to tier 4 horses, because all the time you grab one when you're going to PvP and you drop one when you die. I would bet that tier 3 horses is the most common PvP drop in the game. When I started playing, due to a high influx of players, donkeys were getting sold by the hundreds, maybe even thousands per day. I made my first money flipping donkeys in Swamp Cross, where I could buy one donkey for 2 to 4,000 silver and sell them for 5 to 6. When I could afford a tier 5 ox, I started transporting them to Thetford and flipping them there as well. I'm still not sure why people bought donkeys in those numbers, but they did, and I was selling them faster than I could buy. And it still turns out that donkey flipping business is still very much alive. The volume is around 500 per day, and you can make about 1 to 2k silver per donkey, and when you sell them in hundreds per day, all that money adds up to millions of silver. And of course, you can flip other things like Tome of Insights, runes, and materials like 0.2.3 materials, which often have huge difference between buy and sell orders. Then as well trophies, gear, and so on and so forth. Just don't forget the 3% you're paying for the listing and selling an item. As well 1% you're paying for listing a buy order. When money gets super low, these 4% might decide the difference between profiting and losing money. So now let's take a look at why we are not overcutting anyone by just 1 silver. When a player overcuts someone by just 1 silver, we accomplish 2 things. So the first one is that the people under us will think that, oh, he will get these 5 items and leave. But I'd rather wait it out than get into a cutting standoff with someone. So there's less chance someone cuts above us. And the second reason is that increasing the chance that someone will sell to us. So the lower the margin, the bigger the chance people will sell to the buy order, even if most of the people who'll sell to us don't even bother checking the stats and sell orders, it's still a bonus. Combining just listing 1 item with overcutting by 1 more, that a few thousand silver, we rarely get overcut by others. And later, of course, we'll talk about more under and overcutting in separated video and sometime in the future, but for now I will just say, don't go into the auction house cutting wars, it just costs you time and money. And don't update your orders more than once per day. It is almost never worth it. Okay, so now let's take a look at the other ways of playing the market. Plain flipping is pretty boring and usually not that profitable, so let's take a look at other things that we can do in the market. The first one is salvaging artifacts. You can salvage artifacts at the Artifact Foundry. Each one will net you about 75% of its item value and 25% of its components, which is listed in the item's description. So that is 12 to 13 runes of the same tier as the artifact. And the big thing is that not everyone knows this, so people often sell off meta artifacts for less than they could get from salvaging them. So let's just choose the artifact category on the market and buy the cheapest one. Then after buying them, take all of them out and go to the Artifact Foundry, which looks like this. And after you click on it, choose the second tab and salvage the items. So we get 384 silver and 12 runes, which is 384 plus 105 times 12 times 0.98, which is cost total of 1618 silver. And just like that, we made over 400 silver per artifact. And that is without using sell/buy orders. If you set up buy orders for these artifacts, you'll be able to make more. It's like flipping but with extra step. And the good thing is that once someone sells to your buy order, selling runes afterwards is extremely easy and fast, even with a sell order. So yeah, salvaging gear is rarely profitable but still an option. Same thing as with artifacts, except you do it with at the repair station. So you get 75% of the item value, start at silver, and chance of extracting the artifact at 25% of the resource used in crafting. I'm guessing the chance to get the artifact is 25% as well, but I would need to do some testing to confirm. Enchanting. You can enchant the gear at Artifact Foundry as well, and it is done by using runes/souls and relics of the appropriate tier. So for example, to enchant a flat 4 cape all the way to tier 4.3, to get it to 0.1 you will need tier 4 runes, to get it to 0.2 you will need tier 4 souls, and to get it to 0.3 you will need tier 4 relics. And the amount depends on the item. It is 24 for offhands, capes, head and leg armor, 48 for bags and chest armor, 72 for one-handed weapons, and 96 for two-handed weapons. The quality remains the same, which makes this pretty overpowered. And you can use this to buy tier 4 gear, upgrade it, then sell for more. Good example is the helmet we flipped, tier 4 Graveguard, which just flat 4 costs 32k, while 0.1 costs 50k. We only need 24 runes to upgrade it, which is less than 3000 silver. So by just buying a flat 4 Graveguard for 32,000 silver and buying 24 runes, which is plus 3k silver, which in total is 35k silver, we now have an item worth of over 50,000 silver. Just like that, we made about 15,000 silver profit. Another way of making money from this enchanting high quality gear is usually excellent or masterpiece weapon/armor. Buy a flat 4 masterpiece weapon, enchant it to 0.2 or 0.3, then sell for much more. But important note is to be sure to check out if people are actually buying 0.2, 0.3 masterpieces with market history tab. You can upgrade quality of any gear that has one, and you can accomplish that at the repair station. When you go into the third tab and put the item in, there will be a button saying a reroll quality, but the actual quality cannot go down. It can only go up. It will cost you a hefty sum of money depending on the tier and enchantment level of your item. Upgrading from excellent to masterpiece is almost impossible. However, if you can skip a tier, upgrading from good to excellent right away, for example, I've upgraded my transport mammoth that way. I got lucky and paid only 80,000 silver in 4 tries and got an excellent mammoth. But of course remember that this is extremely risky and rarely worth it. So which means that you're basically gambling and it is very easy to lose a lot of money. And just to give you another example, it took me 8 attempts to get good quality, then more 8 to get outstanding. Pretty unlucky and totally not worth the money. I would only recommend this method if you're flipping / enchanting from flat 4 items, because you might as well first try to improve the quality at the cost 4.0 items, which is pretty low, at least until it has good / outstanding quality, or if you're trying to improve the quality of an expensive mount. Then the next big thing is transporting. Pretty straightforward, buy in one town, haul to another one and sell there. Sometimes you can even fast travel with items and still make good money. Transporting between royal cities is safe, there are a bunch of routes using only blue and sometimes yellow zones. And lastly, transporting to and from Caerleon is very risky, but it gives you the most profit. I won't get too much into detail in this video as I've never really done transporting for profit yet, but if and when I do, I'll probably make a guide on the fastest way of transporting, so be lookout for that. Then moving over to lucky purchases. This is probably the least profitable silver per hour and stable way of playing the market, but it is very fun to do from time to time, and it helps you to get to know the market better. So we're going to be looking for items that are listed for much less than they cost. So how do we find them? Open the market, then click twice on the duration column, and now the most recent items will be at the top. And in about 2 to 5 minutes, this was the best thing I could find. I would guess that someone probably got lucky random drop and doesn't want to wait for a week to sell it. Of course, it is somewhat risky buying this, but we see multiple purchases for over 800,000 over the week, so it should sell in the next few days. I'll buy it and sell it for 890k. The idea is to get a personal sense of how much what item costs. Now we know a tier 6.3 200 meta weapon is around 700 to 900,000 silver. And even if we don't buy this one, next time we see someone listing a tier 6.3 weapon for 200-300k, will instantly buy it. But of course, obviously, you will get better search results if you narrow down the search down to a category you're interested in. So if you're crafting bows, for example, you can look at recent bow listings from time to time. You can snag a few cheap bows and resell them. Most importantly, you will get a better sense on the prices and find new bows to craft. You should also try filtering by quality, its tier, enchantment level, and look mostly for 0.2, 0.3 gear. And for this video example, about a month ago, I was looking at recent sell orders when I saw this item listed at 5,000 silver. So what I did, I only had about 100,000 silver, I double checked and bought it, sold it for 300k, and this is how easily I made 295,000 silver profit. At that time I only had about few million silver, so this was a pretty nice boost. And now let's take a look at my final thoughts. So you can combine all the information I gave you in this video, like salvaging artifacts and enchanting, transporting and NPC trading, and etc, etc. The less you pay in the market fees, the higher your profits are. So the biggest thing to know about the market is that people who are selling to buy orders are paying their difference for which is time. They get their money right away and don't have to wait for their item to sell. You're providing the service to them. Then another issue for players is lack of knowledge. If they don't know about buy/sell orders or don't trust themselves with setting a price that people will pay in reasonable time, they don't spend time finding out about it and researching it. And you, by just watching this video, can make so much easy money money by profiting from players who have no idea about the game. And that's about it. If you found this video helpful, don't be shy to leave a like, subscribe, and while you're doing that, enable that notification bell so you won't miss any more Albion tutorials, different beginner guides, 1v1 montages, and much more. And if you have any more questions, feel free to comment them in the comment section down below. My name is Cade, it was my pleasure to teach you on the best ways to make silver, and with that said, I'll see you in the next video. So take it easy, peace.
Yo, I ain't here for the money.